This was one epic intro. Welcome everybody. Hello, this is Restream team. We are live and super excited to see you. That was one good countdown. So
right, I was dancing the whole time. Hey everyone.
Me too. Yes, round of applause to Dmitry, our designer. For those people who are asking, who is that? If it's not Alex, even though Alex would probably be that. But this was our designer, Dmitry. Thank you. Kudos for that awesome track for us. And
good vibes.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Nice. Good vibes. I'm your host, Anya. I'm with marketing team. And today joining me is Matt from product. How are you doing today?
Hey, Anya. I'm doing really good. Thank you. Great to be here. Very excited about this feature that we're going to talk about today. But back to you.
Yeah, we're going to talk about local recordings and how to achieve the maximum quality for your podcasts and videos, even if you have remote guests, people from all over the place, kind of like me and Matt, we're actually located across the ocean from each other.
Oh, yeah.
But our recording is going to be crisp and spot on because of this new feature that we are introducing today. So stunning 4K Ultra HD videos and audios for you and all your guests are now possible directly in Restream Studio with the local recordings feature. So we would like to hear from you for sure. And we would like to also answer any questions that you have about recordings and podcasting. If you're not sure what to ask yet, just drop a few ideas about what kind of content do you normally stream. We would like to know what kind of industries, what kind of roles you guys are in. Are you streaming music? Are you streaming marketing, product, tech, dev talks, nonprofits, anything would be super interesting for us to see. And of course, start preparing our questions because there will be a big live Q&A section in here. So let's go ahead and call in a few people from the chat. Let's see who is checking in today. I see Phil is checking in from England. Hello. Sean is saying epic loops. That is awesome. I nice. See, yeah, that's so cool. That intro was one of its kind. Yeah, people are sending some wavings. Let's go. That was an intro. Yeah, I'm so happy you guys enjoyed it. I was very, very hyped up about it. This is good stuff. So yeah, let us know what kind of content you stream and what kind of questions do you have about quality recordings and quality podcasting. But without further ado, I think we will. Oh, I see people are watching from Uganda. Sweet live on the YouTube, watching from Uganda. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you for joining us today and spending time with you. This is awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and introduce our amazing new feature. We just shipped local recordings, and as I mentioned earlier, the main idea is that each participant of your stream or recording is now getting recorded, both their video and audio, directly on their device. So while your live stream goes through internet, the recording that you can later edit and repurpose is recorded locally and then gets uploaded to the hosts seamlessly on the background without you needing to chase your guests or asking them to share or upload any kind of files. So the main benefit of this is that you can now achieve way higher quality recordings than you could before. But we have a quick video tutorial and guide that explains how this works, where things go, and I will just go ahead and let Charles, our video producer, to take it away.
You asked for the easiest way to get studio quality video and audio when you go live or record. Well, we've made it happen with local recordings. Local recording captures the camera, mic, screen shares and videos of everyone toggled on in the stream straight to their computer in up to 4K resolution. That means no frame drops and no glitches even if someone's internet is a bit spotty. Alright, choose to go live to your channels or simply record, then head over to the recording menu. Live streams and studio sessions automatically save in the cloud, but for maximum quality, make sure local recording is turned on before you go live. Now record or stream to your channels as usual. While you're recording, high-quality files upload quietly in the background to your Restream storage, where only you, the host, have access to them. Local recordings only capture sources that are toggled on, so anything backstage won't be recorded. Once you're done, a quick check shows whose files have uploaded and which are still in progress. No more chasing guests, they don't have to do a thing. Under the download button, select local recordings and click export to group your recordings into one download. There will be an XML file ready to import into your editing software, so no more manual syncing multitracks. Your video editor will know what this means and they will love this huge time saver. Local recordings are part of your cloud storage plan, and as always, you can find all of your recordings under video storage from the home screen. So that's it. Local recordings work quietly in the background, capturing every detail in crystal clear, professional quality. Now, go make something amazing, anywhere, everywhere. Cheers.
All right.
Hey.
That was a nice little guide. Thank you so much, Charles, for making it simple and clear. And after you guys have seen what local recordings are and how they work, we invite you to ask any questions in the chat, because we definitely want to answer any concerns, any ideas, any feedback. Maybe you already tried the feature. Please let us know in the chat. And in this part, I would love to hear like the origin story, like how we built this from Matt, because he was the product lead on this feature. We had a lot of requests from our customers to build this, and people were really looking forward.
Long time coming.
Yeah. So let's walk us through the story. How did that happen?
So actually, this project started almost like 2 or 3 years ago. But at the time, we had to switch focus to other priorities, and it was never finished at the time. But we knew that this is a crucial feature, mostly because, Restream has always had cloud recordings, right? And all of your streams are automatically recorded in the cloud. But with local recordings, you get, crisp audio and video from every participant, right? I'm getting a little bit of lag, Anya. Is everything okay on your side?
Yeah, you sound good.
Sorry, yeah. My internet these days is a little glitchy, so apologies for that. But as I was saying, so with local recordings, you get very good quality, crisp tracks. And as you can see in this very live demo, my internet is not ideal. And with the cloud recording, the quality can go down because we are live streaming through WebRTC. And what it does when the network is going dynamically down, it basically lowers the bit rate of the video, right? What that means in reality is that it starts dropping frames, and it also can lead to stuttering in the audio. And you don't want that, right? After you've streamed this beautiful content, you don't want to have missing frames or like stuttering sound. So with local recordings, we basically record everything on the device, and we are progressively uploading it to the host, right? This way, even on a spotty internet, the quality will be there. So regardless of how spotty my current connection is and what you might be experiencing, in the end result in the file, you will really get high quality stuff, right? So the origin of this story was that we were really trying to teach the browser to behave like a professional camera rig without melting everyone's computer, right? So local recordings is actually working behind the scenes on the device of every stream participant. So while the stream is being recorded in the cloud as a whole video, individual sources, so for example, my camera here and Anya's camera there, would be separate video tracks, isolated tracks, if you will. And local recordings can grab the utmost quality of our current camera devices and progressively upload it and back it up on our Restream service. So this way, the host can, at the end, just obtain the full files in full quality. So this is true a game changer for video editors, right? So if you want to reuse and leverage the video from your stream, you can just download all of these high quality files and reassemble it in any way. You will see later on that we have some really high quality features baked into this. And for example, you could even assemble the stream in post-production differently, right? Or you could edit some different nuggets from those isolated tracks. So that was really the challenge, how to balance the quality and the resources it takes to record the videos on individual participants and devices. And actually, the way it works under the hood is that little chunks of the data are constantly uploaded. And this way, even if people drop out, everything up until that point has been recorded and is protected. So even such incomplete cases can be available to the host. So this was fun. It required a lot of testing. I'd love to give a huge shout out to the team here, especially the engineering manager on this, Anatoly and Roman and Robert and Sergio and a bunch of other people who have been building this feature, and also like the whole team really who helped us stress test this, because there are so many scenarios and so many devices you can have. Different sources can be shared. It can be a screen share, it can be a camera, it can be an external camera, and it all has to be captured precisely with the right time and in the highest quality possible. So we've released this just a few weeks ago, really. Currently it's in beta. We're looking for more feedback to understand like what to tweak and how to handle things. And I just realized that there's just this like funny story that while we were testing, we were playing a lot with the utmost quality, right? Trying to record 4K and Ultra HD. And the engineers in our Portuguese office actually didn't have a 4K camera. So at that point, they were just using like 4K monitors that can kind of give you the similar result in the video. And this is how we were like stress testing the highest quality possible. So that was also some fun moments in this one. But yeah, overall, it's still in beta and we're looking for feedback.
Oh, this is excellent. This is actually true. And this is actually a perfect segue to our next kind of call out for this new feature, that local recordings basically come with the possibility to record in 4K. But it is not a trivial task to do that, because you do need a device, mainly the camera, that can capture in such quality. And a lot of cameras, especially if you're streaming and not necessarily working as a web camera, so you will need certain devices like capture cards and other like connectors to basically trick your computer into thinking that your DSLR camera is a webcam, and those also have to be compatible with 4K in order to achieve that. And when it comes to some questions that we got from our email campaign, at least I received some emails with people asking, okay, so does 4K recording means 4K streaming? Not yet, not at this time, because first of all, most platforms that I know of do not accept the 4K live content. The only platform I can think of, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, is YouTube, that is capable of that kind of quality. Anything else you can think of and that you probably typically stream to, such as LinkedIn, X, Facebook, Twitch, do not accept such a quality.
Yeah, it's all full HD.
Yeah, it's just full HD, so it's 1080p. However, having the ability to utilize the fullest potential of your device, of your great camera in 4K, to then repurpose the recording into little highlights, clips, snippets, best of episodes, maybe video uploads, and maybe something that you would put on your website. That is pretty powerful, and you can do it all from one place, from Restream Studio. And
exactly.
Of course, it was a little bit of help from your producers and editors, but that is now achievable.
Yeah, exactly. And with the utmost resolution that we can grab with local recordings, you can do various tricks in post-production and editing, right? So for example, if you look at our stream here right now, let's say we're live at 1080, and so that's full HD, and the cloud recording would be that, right? So if you just use that source file for editing, and you would want to grab sources from that video, they could not go higher than this quality, right? But with local recordings, which are isolated tracks, they can be themselves full HD or even 4K, and you could crop them, zoom in, and do various post-production tricks that would not be easily possible with cloud recording. And my personal favorite is actually also the audio, because we don't only get just really crisp video, but like the audio is so much better. Of course, we recommend you to use like an external mic for this, but you know, you will not get any drops or like sort of stuttery sounds, but it will all be smooth, which is amazing for, you know, podcasts and cases like that, right?
Yeah, really good time to upgrade your gear now when this is all available. No, this is lovely. So if you are trying to find your local recordings and especially your 4K setup, you need to go to your settings in Restream Studio. So the local recordings, which is actually something we're using right now, so you will see the repurposed content looking pretty crisp and awesome after this stream. To enable local recording, you just need to use the drop-down menu from the top of your Restream Studio, right, and enable the toggle there. But to add the 4K, you need to go to settings and then toggle it off in there. Not everyone needs local recording in 4K, so that's why this is an additional step. But once you enable it, it's going to be ready for you.
Yeah.
And
Anya, I'm actually curious, like, since we have folks in the chat, maybe they will have some feedback on this, because right now, like, and this was one of the big challenges while thinking about this feature, you know, we don't always keep local recordings enabled, right? Because, for example, cloud recordings are automatic. It just like happens on its own. With local recordings, since it's like a separate process, so your computer is literally like streaming the video, and then on top of that, there's another process running, which is the processing of the local recordings. And if it was on every time, and maybe you don't have such a powerful machine, it could put a lot of strain on your stream. So we made this decision, you could call it during the product development, that local recordings need to be enabled for every stream, right? You need to enable it before you start or once you start, but you need to do that every time, because for now, our product hypothesis here is that it needs to be a conscious decision, right? We want you to do this if you really want to get that high quality and you are aware of, you know, the requirements, which we will speak about in a little bit. Exactly. Yeah, that you really need like a fast internet and a powerful device, most of all. We'll talk about these in a second, but right now, like, local recordings really need to be enabled for every stream. That is important to remember. With the 4K switch there, with the 4K toggle, once you enable it, it stays that way for that stream setup. Now, I'm not, you know, as a product person, I'm not like 100% sure about this, because there might be customers who just want to enable this and keep it on, right? Because every time they want to grab local recordings, every time they're going to be doing post-production. So if you are such a person, if this is like your use case, please let us know in the chat. We would love to like kind of understand and evaluate how important this is. Because always we're trying to balance, right? Like when we are making these decisions, whether to prioritize like the top quality and power user kind of producers and video editors that this feature is for, versus like also streamers that might not have such powerful devices, right? So if you notice that, please know that this is the rationale behind, but let us know in the chat, like, what is your use case? How would you like to use it? Whether you want it every time on, or like maybe you would expect the settings to be somewhere else even. Anything of that sort would be actually super helpful. So please let us know.
Yeah, I would really appreciate that. I'll give my 2 cents on that. And of course, we are very fortunate here at Restream Studio to have pretty powerful machines and pretty good setup. I'm fortunate to have Charles on my team, who is always post-producing and editing and repurposing all of our content. So for me personally, I always want it on. And I am a very forgetful person. When I'm preparing a stream, there's so many things I need to think about. So it is not uncommon for me to forget to toggle something on if I'm not thinking about it. So for my personal use case, it would probably make more sense if I had a different setup or something more unique to actually toggle it off for that one off situation, but kind of have it as a default on, because most of the time I do want it. But there are definitely a few considerations, and that's why we created this short list of best practices for you. So this is not like 100% mandatory, but this is what will set you up for success and give you the best results with local recordings. Matt, do you want to run through this real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, you know, in my sort of technical rambling about what's happening behind the scenes of local recordings, is that we are recording on the device, right? So there are physical files being stored in the browser local storage, and that requires space. Let's put it simply, like that requires space on your machine, right? So if there's no space on your machine, maybe you have lots of pictures or lots of videos, it's not gonna work for you, even for the guest. So you always want to at least keep like 2 gigs of extra storage on your machine. This is pretty crucial. Usually like those files will not be as big, but again, if you have a 4K camera and maybe a 4K monitor, those files might be a little bit bigger and so on. So this is really our recommendation. The second one is the internet speed. So this is, as you know, essential for live streaming anyway. The better the internet, you know, the more stable the stream really. But also like the recording will be uploaded much faster behind the scenes. By the way, I'm not sure whether we mentioned this, and we will probably get to this in the section about how does it feel and look for the guests of your streams. But essentially, you know, people who participate in your stream and they have these recordings on their device, they are progressively being uploaded, right? If they're on a slow internet, they might need to stick around for a few seconds, if not minutes after the stream. But if they have fast internet, that whole sort of post-processing and upload will be almost immediate, and they will not really notice it. So that's another recommendation there. With external camera and mic, I think that pretty much speaks for itself. Right now, you know, we can talk a little bit about our setup. Personally, I'm using my iPhone camera as an external camera, and I have the DJI Mini mic, 2nd generation, I believe, which, you know, is like a normal lavalier mic. It gives me sort of stable audio, I would say. Anya, what is your setup on your side?
Yeah, on my side, I have a DSLR. It's a Canon, and we use, I believe, Elgato capture card. Yeah, the cam link that allows us to basically trick the computer into thinking that that's a webcam. So that connects right into my Mac. And I do also have an AKG microphone with a Focusrite interface. So those are... this is our current setup. We're actually upgrading our studio, so soon we'll have a little bit more posh gear here, and we will be sharing the lists with people. I did receive a few requests of like, okay, now when this amazing feature is available, what would you recommend in terms of gear? So please reach out to us, to our support. We are going to prepare a few articles with recommendations for gears, for like what will actually set you up for success in terms of cameras and mics. But feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to make some recommendations.
Awesome. Yeah, and the last 2 ones are, you know, also pretty straightforward. So we recommend using the latest Google Chrome. It works best there. This is, I would say, the most stable of browsers, really. But, you know, no worries if you are on an iPhone using Safari, or your participants might be using a different browser like Firefox or Safari. The recordings will be recorded as well. It's just, again, sort of our recommendation for best practices. And the last one with VPN, I would just say, you know, every time you do something online like we are doing right now, I've tried to turn everything off, all of my notifications, VPN, anything that could get in the way of the browser doing its job. You know, you are uploading a lot of video to the internet, so let that stream kind of be empty. So yeah, turn off your VPN, turn off your notifications. Oh, and also, it's not really recommended to use anonymous browsers or anonymous mode in your browser for local recordings. It's not really gonna work very well. So, you know, it's you, use your own browser, don't be shy. And yeah, I think this is like the minimum list of best practices, but you know, let us know if you have maybe other tips yourself, or what is your setup that helps you achieve the best quality.
Yeah, absolutely. With VPN, we actually tested it with Charles, and yeah, don't do that. Don't use VPN because it's going to be really, really spotty and shaky. That's yeah, that's great stuff. So I also wanted to make sure we cover a little bit of the difference between local and cloud recordings. That is also something that I heard a little bit of confusion from our, especially creators who have been with Restream for a long time, because yes, cloud recordings have been available for a while, and all paid users receive a cloud recording of every stream and every recording they do in Restream Studio by default. You do not have to toggle anything on. So what we talked about, that you need to enable local recordings every time, only applies to local recordings. Your cloud records automatically behind the scenes every time you go live or record. Obviously, there are some differences between local and cloud. There's some trade-off and some benefits. I would say we try to show you kind of like the big picture, kind of like the very high level understanding of the difference, and probably the number one thing that you need to think about when you are deciding between adding local recordings or just sticking with cloud is the quality of the video versus the power of your machine, right? That Matt broke that down a few times earlier, but those are the two main things that you need to think about. Is it super important for you to have the highest quality of audio and video possible for this specific show or event? Or is it super important for you to make sure that this is light on your system? That's why local recordings are best for your powerful machines, 4K recordings, and when you have a situation when you do not want to depend on internet. So if you are recording with remote guests and people who are joining from all over the place, and their internet might be spotty, the local recording will still be really crisp and good. However, it is going to add load on your system. And that's going to be both the system of your guest and your own computer. So local recordings use a little bit extra CPU, while cloud recordings basically happen on our servers, but they do require a higher internet speed and much more stable internet more than anything. So it's not necessarily about like how high is your speed, it's also how stable it is. Because with cloud recordings, if you are dropping off for some time or you're losing your connection for a certain period of time, you're getting laggy and spotty, maybe you're freezing, maybe your guest is freezing, that will also be reflected on your cloud-only recording. With local recordings, that's not going to happen because whatever is recorded on your machine is going to be eventually delivered to you. So yeah, those are the key differences. I also would like to call out, that was a great idea by Matt earlier as we were practicing, that if you are using Restream clips, cloud recordings are still going to be the source of your Restream clips as of today. So you do need them still, and that is the opportunity to get those little highlights from the cloud recordings. For clips, it's not a big deal because clips are smaller. They are designed for mobile devices. That's why that 4K quality is probably not going to be even visible for your viewers of clips. Anyway, that's why this is how it's working right now. But if you do want to repurpose into something more high quality, you want to use that local recording, that would be your place to get the higher quality files.
Yeah, I would also add, it really comes down to the use case, right? So in Studio, as you probably know, but if you don't, you can live stream, but you can also record only, right? You don't need to go live on your channels every time. Maybe you want to do a dry run, or maybe you just want to record a session and then either edit it or not really, and then schedule it for later, right? Which is also possible. And this was actually one of the steps that took us towards local recordings, because we've improved our record-only mode inside Studio quite a bit. We have what you would expect, the usual like pausing and restarting of the recording. And I would say that if you are, focusing on high quality content, like a podcast is really like the top of mind use case here. It's amazing that you can just like switch to record only mode, invite the participants that would be on your show, easily record everything. You can even make pauses. But with local recordings, you are gonna get that high quality tracks, and then you can do editing, in your favorite editor, maybe DaVinci or like Premiere and whatnot, and then repurpose that as a video that you can upload to Restream, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did lose your phone camera for just a second. I think it focused on something else. Let us know when you are ready. And I also wanted to call out a few things on the guest side of the local recordings. So, and we will dive into this a little bit deeper in just a second. But remember that when we say local recordings, it is important to remember that it's actually, technically speaking, local to cloud. So the recording is happening on individual devices, on the own computers and phones of your guests, but eventually, seamlessly and automatically behind the scenes, while you're still streaming or recording, we are constantly uploading those files, those videos, those feeds, those audios to the host's storage on Restream. So the major benefit of using local recordings in Restream Studio is that you do not have to chase your guests after the show. While you are interviewing your guests, as you can see here, as soon as you stop your stream or your recording, you will be able to see little indicators of, okay, there's Alex and there's Charles right there. The recordings have uploaded and completed, therefore they are accessible to you in the cloud. This is huge because there's nothing more annoying for a guest, especially high-profile guests, than to receive this constant pings about, oh, did you record this thing? Did you save your file? Did you find it on your laptop? Do you know how to upload it to Dropbox? Here's the link. Oh, I didn't find it yet. Oh, maybe this Google Drive is not public, so that's why you cannot access it. You don't have editing rights. Let me change the access for you. Can you upload it? Have you done this yet? We really need to repurpose this right now. So this all is not going to be your problem if you're using Restream Studio, because the recordings upload automatically, even if, and I'll let Matt chime into this, your guest is extremely busy and they decided to drop out and leave in the middle of the stream, or kind of like not quite wait until you finalize the recording, you are still getting partial recording from them. So there's a lot that can be salvaged even if your guest just gets abducted by aliens. And also there is a way to receive the recording afterwards. So if you do want to send this recovery link and say, hey, you kind of left a little bit too early, can you just please click here and allow Restream to access that local recording from your device and get it back to us? There is an option to do that as well. So this is really good for guests, very simple for hosts, and we really hope that you'll enjoy it. And basically, if you have any feedback on how you see this flow and if which part of this flow are beneficial for you, definitely drop that in the chat. That we would love to hear it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's also important to know that you really don't need to install anything, right, with Restream.
Yeah.
So every time you are running a show and invite participants from various walks of life, let's put it this way, they might be really busy, right? Or they have assistants if it's a high-profile guest. And asking them to install software on their machine or like getting something ready is a huge hurdle. So with Restream, you can just really send them a studio invite link as usual. They join. They don't have to worry about anything. It's up to the host whether they enable the local recordings or not. And then everything is kind of recorded under the hood. It's also super safe. So just for all the guests out there, you are only recorded if you are on screen, right? So if you are not on the stage, on air, your video obviously would not be recorded. If you are, whatever is visible on the stream, on the video, that part is recorded, right? And it was really funny when we were building this, because usually when we think about the studio, it's always like a two-sided product, right? We have the host and maybe co-hosts and co-producers who are running the show, like Charles here today with us, and then you have the guests, right? And they need to have a very different experience, much more lightweight, right? They don't need all the bells and whistles. They just really need to have a good quality video and audio. And so we designed local recordings to be really that sort of invisible layer that captures the video in high quality. And the funny part was that we cannot really control whether that guest, as Anya said, gets abducted by aliens or their internet drops, and they just drop out like prematurely or too early. And that obviously like stops recording, right? If they take their computer and throw it out of the window, like that stops recording. historically, what this would mean if you have some local software that is recording you and then maybe requested from the guests, etc., those files would have been forever lost. But with our way of recording locally, we can grab whatever was recorded up until that unfortunate moment, really, and it's all there, right? It's all there. It's all provided to the host. And better yet, the guests can super easily recover from the situation. So if they drop out, if they get called out into a different meeting, I don't know, God knows what, they can still like just go to a very simple link, and all the files will be uploaded to Restream. The host will be notified that the files are complete, and they can kind of keep going, right? So this was really interesting to build, because like you cannot even fathom all the possibilities of what can happen, right? Like what people can do to drop out. And like we always wanted to protect the content for the host. So that's why we decided that even like those partial files can be easily available. And so far from the feedback we've been getting, like this is pretty useful. We are, trying to improve the way we process the files and like how we give them to you. Eventually, you'll see that in a little bit. But essentially, like this is a complete game changer in comparison to like previous flows where you would just need to request some software to be installed, right? Like for me, this is like much better. You just send a link, really.
Yeah, totally. And this is how you find your recordings. You just go to your typical download flow, and where you used to have cloud recordings, you just get a new tab now. You click on local recordings, and as you see in this image, we record all the sources that your guests used during the recording or the show. Like here you can have camera or screen share. So if that was important, or maybe a presentation, or maybe a video that they played, that is also something that you can retrieve. And all of that can be downloaded separately, right? You get separate audio, separate video, and separate track for every guest and their source. So that is pretty big.
I would do a small correction here. So like if they share the presentation, right? Then it would be part of a screen sharing. The reason why we don't, record a locally shared presentation, that first it's not super easy, and second, you would usually like obtain these files from your speakers, and it's much easier. Like if you open Adobe Premiere or whatever, like those slides or those assets can be added and post. But cameras, extra cameras, screen share, and even local videos, which is a feature that I believe some of our studio users have, they all get recorded locally, and they would be in this list, right?
Yes, they will have their own separate feed. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly. And one more thing that we might want to call out here is that you can get individual tracks if you want in various formats, but also we have what we call the file export. It's really like a zip, a folder with all of the tracks inside, and then it has an XML file. The XML file is really like a timeline. So imagine that you have a very simple stream, right? So you are the host and you're running the show for the first 10 minutes, and it's just you. And then another person joins, from minute 10 till minute 20, for example, and then they drop out, and then you do the closing for like 5 minutes, right? So those would be isolated tracks, right? You would be there the whole time, whereas the participant would get much shorter track. Again, if you would just download the individual tracks, you might need to find the exact timings and really fiddle with that in your editor. That's why we have the project file export, which basically comes with the XML file. The XML file is compatible with Adobe Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, and we also have a special file for Final Cut Pro. And basically, it helps you import the timeline and map the timeline to all the downloaded files. This way, you don't need to fiddle with it. It just like kind of magically assembles itself, and that participant that I was just talking about that is joining in at minute 10, their track would start at minute 10, right? So that's really like the choice you have when you're retrieving your files. You can either get everything for editing, or you can get individual tracks. It's pretty flexible. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. By the way, you can find this in your video storage, but we also have the ability to download in the stream history, and it's also in Studio. Once you wrap everything up, once you end the stream, you can just click download and you would find the files there as well.
Yeah, and we will actually do a little demonstration of this in just a second. So let's go ahead and welcome Charles, our podcast producer and video editor. Let's just go ahead and bring him in.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was just looking at all of the chat, so he caught me off guard there. Oh man,
No,
can I just say I love this so much. I can't begin to tell you I love this so much. I love it so much. And it works. Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you to the team. Like, as someone who Rune, I'm assuming your name is Scandinavian, Rune. I am you, like podcast producer. I've seen some of your comments, and yeah, this is amazing for that use case. So, right, what are we talking about?
So we were talking about, yeah.
I'm doing two things right now.
Yeah.
It's like,
no worries,
it's hard
no worries.
to switch.
Yeah, I'll take over the chat. By the way,
right.
for folks in the chat, do not worry. We see you, and we will take your questions once we just go through just a few more things that we wanted to show you. We'll literally just have 2 more things to demo, and then it will be all you and questions. So we'll take as many as we can. And Charles is here today to share a little bit of his experience with how local recordings changed the way he repurposes and edits our own content, and then also to give you a little demonstration and show how those XML files work. Most of the editors probably could envision it based on Matt's description, but we'll just give you a quick little screen share so you can see with your own eyes how exactly those feeds and files transition into Adobe Premiere in our case, so you would know exactly what to expect. All right, Charles, take it away. Let us know what was the most life-changing part, and especially with your past experience with finally accessing high-quality recordings and feeds for every single guest. Download it and upload it automatically without.
I mean, it's no secret that the reason I work at Restream is that I used Restream and I'm a fan of Restream. I love the product. Local recordings was the one thing that was really tricky. I mean, you touched on almost everything that I have to say. I want to reinforce a couple of points, but what you would say about getting files from guests. You know, I worked for. My pedigree is in programming back in the UK, and I've done a lot of promotions, and I've worked for every big name company really in the UK, and then coming over to the Bay Area, moving more into education and podcasting. And in that podcasting environment, working on This Week in Startups, the All In podcast, and Angel for that man, Jason Calacanis, his the caliber of people that he was talking to meant that they had they would be moving from being a guest straight onto their next meeting. They haven't got time to hang around. They haven't got time to chat to me about saving a file on their desktop, uploading it to a Google Drive. I have to make sure that they've got access to that. Like, I was very organized, but these people don't want to hang about. And it was a friction-filled environment, and this solves everything. Something that I think it was Rune said, he was talking about, like, how long does it take to upload those files at the end? And as Matt, as you were saying, it's sort of happening in chunks in the background. And my experience of having done this, we recorded last week, actually, I think we recorded for like an hour and 15 minutes. And at the end, it was pretty much like everyone had finished. I don't recall seeing any uploading happening. It was done. But of course, when you finish recording, you can just sit and have a little post-podcast chat. And those minute or two is, in my experience, plenty for it to work. Yeah. So then you can, and you can start that process. The previous scene, we saw that image of where you go and obtain your downloads. Should I move on to like what it looks like when you use the XML file?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. So let's bring us onto this next scene. There we go. I'm going to get rid of that one. All right. So what you're looking at here is these are the files that you get when you download. And you can see that it wasn't last week, it was the podcast week before. We had everyone in the studio, all of our devs and techs and stuff. And you can also see that I'm there. So because I came in and I turned my camera on at some point at the end, it has the entire recording of me. So I am recorded throughout the entire, there's a whole bunch of me doing nothing, just like I'm staring at my screen like this. So now those are all the files they're downloaded. You can see they're MP4s, and I've got these XML files. So I've got one for Final Cut, I've got one for Premiere or DaVinci. And I literally, here we go. Check this out. You're going to love this. Dun, 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 bam, done. Those are imported, and it's made me a timeline, and everything is synced. Check this out. There it is. It's all in sync. Now, if I had cameras or sources, screen shares, images that came along later on in the show and weren't used at the beginning, you would see them, pop up like this. And look at how the audio follows the video. So I can remix instantly. This is huge. Now you'll notice there's a gap at the beginning here. That is because it's a new feature. Anya and I forgot to turn it on. So like as she was speaking, she then turned it on. And so the brilliant thing about that is I can actually take the show. I've got a main show record. Here it is. I don't need to play it. Oops. More fingers and thumbs. Come on. There we go. Sorry, I've managed to start playing that. Drag it in. There we go. I can take the main show record, and I can, of course, just pop it onto my timeline. I haven't got enough space. I'm so not used to working on such a tiny weeny screen. Anyway, where's my main show record? Anyway, you'll see the theory there is that I can put this onto my timeline. Sorry. Here we go. This is what I need to do. Put it onto my timeline here. There we go. So now I can cut between the main show recording and all of my guests. If I needed to chop around things, I can just choose whichever camera I want to use. And so anyone that knows what they're looking at here is going to be going, oh yeah. And of course, each stem is individual. So there's the main mix down here of the actual recording. And then I can cut around any mistakes. And again, when you're a podcaster, you need to be able to say to people, we're not here to gotcha. We're here to interview you. If you say something that you can't say. Now, I worked in venture capital podcasting environment, and there would be times where a company would say, wait, I legally can't say that. Like, you need to cut that out. This makes it so easy. I can just cut to the host giving us a noddy and then back to that person. Like, it's so easy to cut around. Absolutely. This is just, it's phenomenal. Now, I want to demonstrate what it looks like when you have lots of different sources that turn on at the same time. That's fine. So here, imagine I had different people turning up into my podcast at different times. This is what it looks like. So this guest turned up, and then this one turned up, and then this guy left. I've mocked this up. This is not genuine. It's just another timeline. But you can see that this was an XML. You saw how quick that was. Anyway, I could talk about this for hours. I love it so much. I think that's really all. Sorry. One other thing, you can multicam this. Of course, all I needed to do would be to nest all of this, right? Where's nesting? I normally do this with keystrokes, but there we go. Once I've got a nest, I can turn that into a multicam, right? I'm not going to attempt to play this, but once you've got that as a multicam, I can just switch between. Dude, that's so powerful. That is so powerful. Anyway, so fabulous. I hope that works for you guys. Any questions?
Yeah, that was really cool. I wanted to go to our questions slide, actually. So let's go ahead and bring Charles back in here. Not sure why he's not showing up. Here we go.
There I am.
Awesome. So yeah, this was really good demonstration. I know, I mean, it's hard to demo live, but that's the beauty of live.
Did it work? I'm trying.
Yeah, it did.
That was fire. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it showed, like, especially that use case when I'm thinking about our creators, TBPN, for example, like that's a big podcast. They have big deal guests and they're coming in and leaving all the time. It's a very dynamic and high profile show where they constantly change the people who they are interviewing. And for them, something like this would be just absolutely epic because they can very easily see who joined when. And there were questions about this in the chat about the syncing. So everything is automatically synced for you. So you don't have to catch like audio and video and like figure out where on the timeline. But if you do want to shuffle it, you can.
It's right there. And the other thing is like, let's say, so one of the times you'll be doing something and you might be like, oh, I just want to show you something. So frequently you'll just drag another image and you just drag and drop it onto the canvas of your stream. When you export, you get that on your timeline. I don't have to be like, oh, could someone send me that image that you used? I know it's sitting on your desktop. It's there. It's amazing. This is such an unlock. And I'm so thrilled about this.
I love your excitement.
That's
awesome. It's so thrilling to just watch your excitement.
It's awesome. But this is how editors feel when they experience this feature. So back to the chat and our awesome viewers who spend their time to submit some questions. I want to make sure that we have at least 15 minutes to run through some of those cool questions that they had. So I will serve a few more and then Charles, take it away because I know you've been pinning a lot of stuff. I want to start with James. He's asking, his question is, does this only work in Restream Studio and not using the third-party encoders? Let's unmute Matt.
Exactly. Usually third-party encoders are local apps and they provide local recordings on their own natively on the device. Restream Studio is a web browser application, and it works just that. That's how we built it, really. We don't really have the time to build all the encoders out there, but we do support them for RTMP and SRT streaming, right? So that is a slightly different use case. We believe that if you want to quickly like design a stream, just pop into Studio and there you have it. If you need encoders, they have lots of, hardcore functionality baked in, right? So take a pick.
Awesome. Brother John is asking, how many guests can you have? And I want to take this opportunity to kind of expand this question a little bit to like how many local sources basically you can record, right? Because I actually don't know. I know you can have up to 10 participants, right? That includes you as a host, maybe your co-producer if someone like Charles is also helping you to stream. So if you're a solo producer, host basically one girl band, one man band, then you can have up to 9 guests. But then when it comes to their sources as well, like how many feeds can be recorded locally?
I don't really have a number top of my mind, but there are limitations that you might not expect, but they are there. So let me explain. For example, all of those people could share a screen, right? And they could. But in Studio, the layout, currently we have these like nice rule of thirds here happening. So that's the layout. And that in itself has some limitations of how many of these blocks can we fit in. So even if those, let's say 9, 10 people all screen share, they can add that as a source, but there's no way the layout could fit all of that onto the stage, right? Onto the screen. It would simply not look good. All those things would be just minuscule. So as I've alluded to before, like we only record the things that are on stage, right? So like you can invite, 9 guests, up to 9 guests as a host, and they all can screen share, they can have extra cameras, but as they are being brought to the stage or their sources are really being enabled by the host, those parts would be recorded. I know that's a sort of long answer, but that's kind of, there's no number really, like, because it varies, right? It varies on the layout, it varies on the situation. I would say the limits are pretty gracious. We'll see, like let us know in the chat if you need more, if you need like 20 screen shares at the same time. Like I'd love to know why, but yeah.
That sounds like a really crazy show if you have 10 guests with multiple cameras and also sharing screens and slides and dropping images and videos. That sounds like a really crazy event. But if that's something you guys are doing, let us know. We would love to see how we can make it happen for you. James again, async or sync transfer of the files, meaning do we need to tell our remote guest to stay logged in until the files transferred over to the host? We kind of covered that a little bit, but just let's give a quick summary.
This is a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question, James. So no, you don't need to tell the guest to stay logged in. And actually, with Restream Studio, they don't even need to be logged in. So the way Studio works is that you can invite anyone, and they really just use a link. They don't need to have an account, and still their tracks can be locally recorded and synced and transferred to the host. So hope that helps, but you really don't need to explain anything. The only time when you might need to have that sort of conversation with the guest is, again, they left too early for whatever reason, and
abducted by aliens.
Abducted by aliens, exactly. And then if that ever happens, you just send them a link. It's a very simple link. It's something like studio.restream.io/upload, and they go there, and it just tells them, your files have been uploaded. You can close this, and that gives the rest of the things to the host. So that is rare, as Charles mentioned, in the case where, how many guests did you have? 5, 6, something like that, right?
That
and everybody.
Well, there was me and then 5 people
Yeah,
in the studio, so it
5
recorded
people,
all of us.
right? 6
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty instant. You mentioned, right? So like at the end, all the files have been there.
Yeah.
Well, it was instant to get the ones that are available instantly.
Yeah, well,
obviously the export takes a little time to download.
That is true, but like that story for the guest ends at that point, right? Like once their files have been uploaded,
absolutely.
They can close the computer, have a coffee, and that's it.
Honestly, I had forgotten, if I'm completely honest, I had forgotten to say, could you hang out for a second? And I didn't, it made no difference. Everyone was just like, okay, thanks, bye. And they'd gone. And I think that is a fabulous,
so
feature.
no training for your guests needed.
What happens if they do leave? Maybe we should speak on that, because there is a process if they do leave.
Yeah. I just mentioned that. So on that situation, you really just, so let's go step by step. You're the host, they leave too early. Okay, you still have everything recorded up until the point when they left. And if a fraction is missing, you will see that in the download model. You will obtain that special upload link that you can share with them. You will see the participant that left too early, so it's really easy to understand where to send it. And you will also get an email about the fact. And then once the guest has the time to do what you need them to do, which is go to that link, you get another email that all the files have been retrieved, really, and then you can proceed with the file export and so on.
And I believe that email also goes to the guest if they did happen to leave earlier. They basically get this information by email as well, saying like, "Hey, by the way, this is the link. Please upload." Awesome. Mm-hmm. Question from Rune, and he did confirm that he is from Norway, so the Scandinavian guess was right. Will it be possible to stop the local recordings? Will it be possible to stop the local recordings while we are still live? Would it make it easier to finish the upload while we kind of wind down from the podcast recording, chatting to people? I clearly see this use case, because every time we're done with this show, we always tend to hang around for just a little bit to discuss some things that we noticed about Studio, maybe some interesting questions, feature requests.
I mean, this already works actually, kind of. Let me explain. So when you're live streaming and you end the stream, this is the moment when the recording is stopped. But if you hang around in the room with your guests, have a chat, how did it go? Obviously, that is no longer visible to your audience, right? But the recording has been already stopped, and while you're chatting, it is being uploaded. So that workflow really works already, unless you are still live while you're chatting, after the end of the show, right? So you are technically still streaming. And at that point, we don't have that ability right now to turn it off. And the reason why we don't have it right now is because if you were able to turn it off, and then maybe bring it back on again, right? What would it do to the files, right? Suddenly it's two separate sessions, right? And like it would be very difficult to reason about, like, okay, so I have, you know, maybe two projects, right? And it's no longer just like one session. That's, at least for now, like we don't enable people to like bring it back on, right? But like I really believe that this sort of workflow can really be solved already. Just like you end the stream, it stops the recording, you know, and you can keep chatting. You can stay in studio, hang around.
Yeah.
That's what we typically do, by the way. Like when we end these things, we hang. So
it's preview where we hang out. That's exactly right. We're not like continuing to record, even though sometimes I feel like we should, because there's a lot of fun stuff that happens there after we hit that. maybe not recording worthy, but anyway.
I would always start a recording before the recording, because you always get that pre-game sort of banter.
The gems,
and that is,
the gems drop.
If you look at the All In podcast, they have their cold open, and that banter is usually because there's like people are relaxed, they don't think they're being recorded, and they have that banter. It's gold. There's always gold there.
All right.
So real quick, a question, kind of touched on that a little bit, but just a quick summary. What's the expected behavior if the local recording at the guest computer just shuts down? So that's abduction by aliens, but also the technical hell, 2 in 1, while everyone is live, not just when recording, but while everyone is live. Like, what would you say should be the flow, other than panic?
No need to panic. So, you know, the guest can always return, and that creates another recording, really, if the show is still running. So if, you know, they have accidental shutdown and they technically drop out from the stream and they return, like we just start recording them from the moment they're back on, right? So you would still like be able to have them on. And otherwise, like I think we've pretty much covered it. If there's this unexpected shutdown and they do not recover from it, there's a chance like all the files have been uploaded and it's all fine. And if not, you know, you use that special link. So
exactly, and you still get something until they dropped off, which a lot of times will give you enough material.
Might be enough, you know, might be enough, right?
Absolutely. Interesting kind of like feature request and idea. I definitely want to call it out because I think I totally see the need for that. How about allowing Studio to check the available space and the internet speed and provide the expected recording time once the toggles are turned on? So basically that comes back to conversation that was probably submitted earlier when we were talking about like, does this toggle, should it basically be always on, or once it's on, does it stick? So I think this is an interesting kind of like interpretation for what could be helpful to make that decision, whether I'm recording locally, where I'm keeping it on or not.
I see. I mean, the way I read the question, it's also about this sort of monitor, right? That like it checks your internet speed and the available space. We do have one thing that we wanted to add. I don't think we did yet, but it's coming. So if you are running out of space as a participant on your machine, we would send you a notification. If like basically we cannot any longer keep storing those local recordings, we would notify you about the fact. I don't think that is a way for us to easily like check the maximum available storage like that, because you know that is a difference between the browser and the native apps. Maybe there is. We'd have to check with the engineers. But with the internet speed, I think this is really a good one, and we do have a couple of requests about this. So essentially, you know, having some sort of internet monitor, internet speed monitor, I think like that is actually an amazing request, not just for local recordings, but essentially for streaming stability, to really understand like, is this good enough? In general, like we do have this like speed test in the app. It's sort of an older page, but I believe it still works, where you can sort of check the speed of your upload to a given server. You could even change the servers, but if you ever struggle with that, by the way, if you just want to check like, is my internet connection good enough for streaming or recording, please reach out to our support and they will sort of guide you how to really check it.
Can I
Yeah.
throw in my experience here?
Mm-hmm.
So we used to do a tech check before every show, and I would send people here to Speed of Me, because it's at the time, it may not be, it was independent, so it's not like saying go to Comcast if you've got Comcast, because of course they'll prioritize it.
Yeah.
This was independent. And the other thing I do is I go to Restream Tools webcam test, and I check my camera, and I can then see whether we're getting 4K. I can see, and so if I have an issue there, I know I'll have an issue before I get into the studio. So those are a couple of little housekeeping things that I do.
Nice.
But speed test is critical. And then in terms of, making sure that your computer has enough space is just something we should all do.
Yeah.
Whether you're streaming or not, because your
That was in the
computer's going to
checklist.
suffer. And I use an iPhone, and I'm always running out of space.
Exactly. I just keep paying
constantly-
more for my iCloud storage.
I mean, it's deliberate, isn't it? It's like your Gmail. Like the reason they don't make it easy to clean up your Gmail is so they can sell you a storage plan.
All right, let's take a few more because we have quite a bit to run through, actually. So there is a question about if the upload deletes the local recording. I know the answer to that. I think it's a no, but Matt,
No.
it does not delete it. So basically,
exactly, yeah. So let's read exactly here. Does the upload delete the local recording? Probably, if that's on the device, then yes.
Yeah.
Do we sort of clean up after ourselves? Yes, we do. It only stays there if it's in the incomplete state, right? If it's complete, it's no longer necessary, and it doesn't, obviously stay in your storage and keeping space unnecessary.
So it means that guest doesn't have access to that local recording. It's saved on their hard drive, it's uploaded, and then disappears. So like you said, you tidy up after yourself.
And it's not really like saved on the hardware as a recording. It's, sorry to get technical again, but like it's part of the data in the browser. But we then progressively upload them to our server where we stitch them together. And this is how we assemble the recording file, right? So the file only lives on our server, like on its own. That's how we make it available to the host for the download. But the files that you would have in the browser, they're not really, unless you're an engineer, they're not really like human readable, like that. You cannot work with them. The local recordings are there for the host to work with.
That's awesome.
To be
That's
clear,
actually a very good explanation. Yeah, because basically, if I'm the guest that is being recorded locally, I will not be able to easily find that file, right? And
No. You do not.
So that's an important thing.
So we do not expose these files to the guest. If they want to retrieve it, the host can always send it to them. But that files in itself, like currently, again, we don't have a native app like an encoder, right? So if you had that as a guest or a participant, you would normally, have a video file on your computer. But this is not the case with local recordings. I know it's a bit hard to maybe explain, so maybe I'm not doing a good job. But yeah.
No, but it makes sense. Yeah, we tidy up after ourselves. As a guest, I will not be able to just like stumble upon and find that recording on my screen. And basically, it is primarily designed to be accessible for hosts, and guests can get it only if host chooses to share it. So that's pretty
exactly.
much.
And one of the reasons why we like assemble it ourselves is that we assemble different formats of it, right? So we take the data structure, and like at first you get a WebM, but then you can also get a MP4 and so on. So like all those files are really for the host to decide how they want them, when they want them, whether they want them at all, and so on.
But who is the host? In this instance, we have basically three producers. We can all have access to these files.
Yes, that is true.
So that's also key. If you have several producers and they're working on different segments themselves, they don't have to download and upload and pull it. So it's a local recording stored in a cloud-based system, so that if someone else needs those recordings that is an approved, has hosting privileges, they can also get access to those files. So that's it's a file distribution system in some sense as well.
Yeah, and that's a good opportunity to call out our collaboration tools like Workspaces and TeamSeat. So if you do have a production where you need multiple people to access those recordings because maybe somebody is hosting, like I'm doing right now, and then I am absolutely useless in editors, that's going to be Charles's job. We can always access these recordings at the same time. So I can look at the show and maybe point out a few moments that I think are highlight worthy, and then Charles can do his magic and actually deliver awesome repurposing for the show. So like that is accessible for people who use workspaces and team seats. So check them out if you haven't yet.
And I genuinely use this feature. Like we genuinely use this. This is something we are actually using today.
Yeah. We will do it, exactly today. Doc from LinkedIn is asking, is the captured screen share already synced with the camera footage?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. This was the shortest one. This is just a yes. Interesting question from not Phil Sledge. He's asking, would the studio have an audio interface on screen to see the levels? Near and dear to me because we battled with my microphone a little bit before we started here. That's probably why I'm kind of like, we should probably take this one.
Yeah, I would say it is slightly a different feature, right? In general, like about your audio levels, really. So in Studio, like for host, if you go into your sources, you can see the audio levels, how they go up and down. We don't really have any advice on like, whether you should tune in your gain or fix your audio in any way. But like in settings, you can do that. You can manage like your audio. Charles, you actually did that for Anya today a little bit, right?
I did. Yeah, that's because Anya was a little low, so I actually pulled us down.
Yeah, and so like, do you feel like our audio is now at the same level as it gets?
I can't hear me. So if if the two of you feel that I'm at a similar level, because I'm usually a little hot compared to you guys. So
no, you guys sound great. Like, so I can only hear the two of you. I don't hear myself, but you two sound very even level.
Same for me. I can also hear myself.
I have, I obviously have my constant monologue inside my own brain, but I wonder,
don't we all?
I would, when touching on audio, if I was fully in control, I would tell you to ditch anything Bluetooth and go wired, because it's only going to cause trouble. It's only going to cause issues in the system.
So should I throw away this DJI then?
I don't know about throw it away. It has a place. I also have I have the there's the fantastic DJI microphones, not sponsored. Other microphones are available. I think these are absolutely fabulous.
This is not an ad. This is not an ad.
This is not an ad. But you can see I am wired, and there's a reason for that. I've done this for a while.
Do you have a golden cable? Is it pure gold in the cable?
Well, it's analog, so maybe it is. You see, look, there you go. Is that a non-wired device? I wonder. These are the things that happen.
Exactly. It was. It's like. Yeah. I got this coming.
I've done this a while. I sort of know. And can I just say that also? You see how we're now sort of chatting, and we've left that caption up on screen. Like that, it might be that we move on in our conversation, and we don't want that. When I edit this into the cut down or the podcast, we don't want that on screen. Now I can. I've got all these assets clean.
That is such a good. That is such a good
chef's kiss.
Such a good call out, actually. Yeah, this is super important for a lot of things, including like any kind of repurposing, right? Like if you're doing the vertical, if you're doing the best of, a lot of times, and we are actually pretty mindful about keeping our video pretty clean, right? Like we don't like overload it with logos and overlays and like a bunch of different text, but some people have a lot more going on their screens. A lot of times media companies, they have sponsors, they have logos that they have to show. And that is actually a very important part, right? That basically when you are repurposing the content, you get rid of all these overlays and extra text and stuff that is super valuable during the live stream, such as call-outs, questions, but it might not be as useful when you're repurposing and like making something new from those pieces of content. That's really good. Awesome. There's one more question I'd like to also take from Technicom 360 Studios. Seeing the Restream is using additional bandwidth to upload the local recordings, they should be aware of this prior to joining the stream. Maybe a message to this effect. I think this is about the guests, right? Like that we should probably mention something to the guests and like show them some kind of a tooltip that like, hey, by the way, this is going to be recorded locally. Yep. That comparison that we did between cloud and local meaning potentially a little bit more. We will ask a little bit more from your device, from your machine. So do we notify guests about this? Like how do we help them to be aware?
So if you are recording locally, meaning it is enabled and you are live, the guests in their studio, they will see a little recording indication in the header. And there is a tooltip actually, but maybe it's not visible enough that this session is being locally recorded, and that you might need to stick around at the end for a couple of seconds, etc. We do not currently, and that was also like something we went back and forth on, like, should the guest be able to decide to sort of not record locally? I think my camera froze there a little bit. My back. Let's see. It's still frozen. All right. 1 second.
Hidden.
Yeah, I think I'll just switch to audio for a while.
There you go.
And then fix myself really quickly. Sorry about that. But essentially, we do tell the guest we could probably do a better job at notifying them, but we did go back and forth on whether like the guest should be able to like decide like is the stream going to be local recorded or not. Just like with cloud recordings that are automatic on any stream, like all that power remains with the host, right? So all of your streams, whether they go live on the internet, really, like that power is with the host, right? So it's just another sort of thing that the host can control. If for some reason the guest is not comfortable with that, maybe I would suggest doing like a record only session, perhaps not a full on live stream if they want to get edited content, for example. But yeah, essentially it's up to the host to decide.
Awesome. So we had a lot of great questions today, and as we are wrapping up, I just definitely want to thank everybody for coming in, joining us today, asking your really good and deep questions. This is definitely not the end. This is just the beginning. We literally just started with this feature. We just shipped it a few weeks ago, as Matt mentioned. So there is a lot of opportunity for you to provide feedback, to add requests, to share with us what would be even better, even smarter, even easier for you to use. So we encourage you to reach out to our support, to comment on our social media. There's ideas that Charles just popped on. And we definitely would love to hear any kind of feedback, any experience that you had with the feature. Definitely don't be shy. Please bring it on. We would love to know how it's working out for you and what else can make it better. I'm going to show a few examples of some Restream love. I really enjoy comments like this one where we see people saying, I only stream with Restream. This is so effortless. Folks are saying, excellent feature. Thank you. Like me, amazing feature from Alex. I wonder which Alex is that. I have a few ideas. Great feature from Phil or not Phil. Brother John says this is dope. I agree. This is truly dope. And Romario is saying, what a release. And James, who asked a few questions in the beginning, also says, really cool to see this feature coming to Restream. So this is literally music to our ears. We could not be more grateful. This is the reason why we all do what we do, right? We love our jobs. We enjoy our product, and hearing that this is useful, this is delightful, this is something that you really enjoy and that you were looking forward to using, and you have a lot of opinions and feedback on that, is literally the most satisfying and rewarding thing that we can possibly imagine. Any final comments, boys, before we go to our final
Good job
party?
on you. Good, like round of applause to Anya. Like as ever, absolutely true professional. I see you, Anya. I see what you do behind the scenes there.
Yeah,
amazing.
Nice
You're so good at what you do. So good. There's a reason.
What did I do? I don't know what I did.
The way that you manage things behind the scenes, I think that you deserve a bit of love here, because this is you're so very good at what you do. And as someone who's just does what I do and now has stepped in today, it just gives you a lot more respect for what it is. And as for you, Matt, I think you've done a stunning job today. This is really hats off to you. This is and the team that have made this product, because I love this love this feature so much, and I love this product. So, you know, I am your end user, even though I work here. I am the end user, and I really am a big fan.
Well, thank you for the
Absolutely.
kind words, and
Little
really a big
monologue.
shout out to the whole team. Really, like as always, Restream, this was a team effort, but huge shout out to Anatoly, Roman, Sergio, a bunch of other people really working on this. We're so happy to be able to bring this to you, and you know, please let us know how you use it. What is your use case? What are you streaming? How's it going? Are you leveraging 4K? Are you happy with the results you're getting? What about the XML? Like, is it working for you? You know, whether you use Final Cut, DaVinci, or Premiere, like, is it really helping you with your workflow? Please let us know. Always listening, and yeah.
And the
Just
support
happy to
is so
be able to
phenomenal.
bring this.
The support team are absolutely phenomenal, and they are live 24/7. And if you need something, if it's something small, they are so delighted to help. They're such a great bunch. And again, as an insider here, it's really interesting to see how all issues filter to the entire team. Like, things get discussed. If something comes up, it's taken very seriously. It's acted on very quickly. Like, it's phenomenal. You can feel that, again, as an end user. You could always feel that.
It is very true. I always love to thank support for all the work they do. They are on the front line. They're there 24/7, like Charles said. And yeah, big round of applause today. We had some mods in the chat. You guys were absolutely killing it, because we could not possibly take every single question that comes through. And the mods were there, just spot on, jumping on every single question, concern, redirecting people to the resources they need or to support chats to investigate and work with their specific setup and use case. So this is awesome. You guys are the best. And yeah, and like big group hug. You cannot do that, but big group hug for this.
It's a virtual hug.
Virtual hug.
Matt's like, yeah, no. Oh, there you go.
No, you guys were amazing. This is literally my favorite thing to do, to host with you, to help our users to understand and fall in love with our products, and to tell the stories behind them, and to see your stories back. This is the most satisfying thing in the world. So I'm a lucky person. And on that bright note, I'm going to send some hearts to y'all, and we are going gonna set it up. It's like local recording. You have to like toggle that on. Hearts. And we are going to go ahead and party. We're going to bring in Dmitri's DJ set again, and thank you very much for joining us today. Cheers.
Thank you.
Chef's kiss.